The ancient Greeks believed that the human mind wasn't capable of creative thought on its own. They thought we were visited by muses that bestowed on us brief moments of brilliance. Over the years, this idea has shaped how we perceive creativity to be something mystical and almost magical. But here is the twist. Creativity isn't just about inspiration. It has an analytical and a practical side to it as well. The muses, as you may know it, are the goddesses of science, literature, and the art. In fact, the word music comes from the Greek word musical, which originally meant any activity performed under the influence of the muses. But imagine if we had to wait for the muse to inspire every creative idea. That would be absurd, right? We need creativity in our everyday life. So waiting for some divine force for inspiration isn't practical. That's why today I want to redefine creativity. But before I do that, let's look at the traditional definition. Creativity can be defined as the ability to think about a task or a problem in a new or different way. It is the ability to use imagination to generate new ideas. It is also the ability to create. Now, while this definition may be valid, it ought to have some limitations to it, because it proposed that creativity is something that only artists, musicians, inventors do. And this kind of limits the capability of what the word creativity stands for. What if creativity isn't just about creating something brand new, but about seeing connections between what already exists? You see, in 1889, Charles H. Dewey was the commissioner of the U.S. Patent Office. He is quoted as having stated that U.S. Patent Office would soon shrink in size and eventually close down, because he believed that everything that can be created has been created. Really? Why it might have been a little bit off, there is some sense in it, because everything that we see around us are not things that are entirely new, but they are connections, they are new things created out of what already exists. Think about it. Is it fair to tell someone that is not creative just because he has not created the next iPhone or painted the next Mona Lisa? No, it is not. But that is what the society often implies. In fact, that is what you may constantly tell yourself. If I ask you the last creative thing you did, I may not get the answer immediately from you. And that is the point. By attaching creativity solely to inventors, artists, or musicians, we kind of undervalue our own creative nature. And this kind of chase creativity far from us, when in fact, creativity should be closer to us because it has always been part of us. Creativity is how every known revolution was born. It is how we continue to innovate and how we continue to progress as a society. Humans are inherently creative from birth. And if you believe what I just said, you are going to watch this video and go out to take your next idea and produce massively with it. Okay, let me share a bit about my journey. I didn't grow up with access to a lot more resources, and people around me didn't know much. But my first encounter with the internet got me hooked. So I started by creating Java apps. I went into phone repairs before I moved on into web design. In 2011, I created my first website called samglobal.tk. I used a website builder called at that time wapcat.mobi. So after that, I moved on to PHP coding. I became obsessed and fascinated with design, CSS, and aesthetic. Everywhere you see me, I was always with my phone, designing, in the toilet, on my way to work, on the road. I was just designing everywhere. And I was always glued to my phone, my head constantly bowed down. My parents became worried. Even the cafe I worked then was also reporting same issue to my parents of how I was designing. And my parents became worried, thinking that I was not serious with life, that I was just wasting away. But while all this was happening, my website kept growing. It grew to about 30,000 members. I also had a Facebook page then that had more than 100,000 likes, 100,000 followers. So after some setback and pressure from my mom, I promised to quit those internet stuff, which I did. Now, if I mention some of my peers, what they are doing right now, you'll be amazed at some of the amazing things they are doing. But that's not the point. My point exactly is this. If you ask me when I began creating, I will most likely not mention those days because I consider those things then as just mere hobbies, childhood dreams, an alternative to playing football. It wasn't that important to me. I never took them as something really significant. I will most likely tell you that I started creating a few years back when I started playing the guitar, or when I started writing. And that's what I want to communicate to you today. We take for granted most of the things we do. We consider them as mere hobbies and childhood dreams. And we have a culture around us that reinforces this belief. But what I see in the Western world are companies like Google, Amazon, Dell, and Apple all started out in garages. I want to redefine creativity as just childhood dreams that never saw the light of the day. Those spontaneous thoughts and actions that we might have felt one time or the other. It is those dreams we abandoned just because we never saw a future in them. It is those toy cars we created from cans. Creativity isn't just about waiting for a muse to arrive. It is about taking those seemingly insignificant ideas and revolutionizing them to solve a problem now and in the future. As I wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. The world seems to be at a standstill creatively. Trends seems repetitive. Even the recent launch of the iPhone 16 and the Redmi 14 series is a mild shift from previous version. And any major stagnation in creativity precedes an outburst of innovation. And the best part is, we all can be part of this next outburst. I will end with this. Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook when he was 19. Bill Gates was 20 when he started Microsoft. Larry Page and Sergey Brin were both 25 when they launched Google. Ray Kroc was 52 when he revolutionized McDonald's. And Alan Sanders was 65 when he founded KFC. You are never too young or too old to start creating. Thank you.